We seem to have got everybody in, I believe. Just make sure we've got everybody in. And I'm going to get underway. It is now indeed time for us to get racing. So I'm tried our best. We've got our title protagonists in the lobby. But we've got pretty much everybody except OG, who doesn't seem to be able to get into the lobby. But I'm happy that we are ready to go now. And OG has actually managed to get in, so just update the grid and then we will get going. We are ready to go. Signal to people to get ready. So hopefully everybody will be ready to start up and we can get underway with the first race. Now this evening, as I mentioned, we've got an endurance race for you. This is going to decide the title. Now the way this works is there are going to be 3-second intervals between each car from the start. This is a new little trial that we've brought out for this season. Thought we might give it a little bit of a try and see how it goes, basically. So the first car will set off immediately. The next car will set off 3 seconds after them. And the next car will set off 3 seconds after them, etc., etc., all the way down the grid until the final car will set off approximately 30 or 33 seconds after the first car set off. Now, it's staggered because it's also in reverse championship order. So, if we go back to our little grid here, you'll see the people slightly further down the championship are towards the top of this grid, and the people who are towards the front of the championship, you're looking mainly at Potro, Matiparetz, Tibran and Hercus Monti, are towards the bottom of the field, and those who haven't completed X number of races, so we don't have a true picture of their potential, got dropped to the back anyway. So we are going to be underway very shortly for this race. And Suzuka is a tough one. This is probably, out of all the tracks that I think I would be most concerned about doing a 200% race at, Suzuka is top of the list. It is so easy to just drop a wheel on a curb and it'll spin you round, get the trajectory over a bump wrong, it'll spin you round. It is a really tough circuit, but I'm only commentating, so I don't have to worry about any of that. It's the drivers who do, and that's why they compete, because who doesn't love a good challenge when it comes to racing? As long as it goes your way, that's normally how it goes. But we are going to get into the race right now. That is from my testing earlier. I'm testing some camera angles. And away we go for the formation lap. Now CFF was unable to attend, so it is going to be Pat who will lead them away. So we're going to look at the intervals, we're going to get telemetry up. Going to get the lap data on and a full track map. You can really get a full picture of what's going on. Now, hopefully the live standings will work. There we go. So now you'll see on the right-hand side, we have got the standings. Now, these will be updated as and when we get a bit further into the race, so that the gaps are a bit more spread out, so I'm not constantly changing it. But the main thing to note is Matiparetz, Tibran, Hercus Monti and Potro. Those are your 4 Drivers' Championship contenders that can win it. Now in the DTM race, we thought Maxi Götz was a bit out of it. He was quite far behind on points, but pulled 2 wins in 2 races to win the title. So by no means is Potro out of a chance to get this win and the title. There's definitely the chance for anything to happen in a 200% race. You get double the time for crazy things to happen. A couple of people have been disqualified from the formation lap. Watch out for them on the start. They might have a bit of a more wheel spin on the launch, as their tyres will be a little bit colder than those who have completed the formation lap, but it really doesn't make a massive difference. And I'll tell you what, Pat has set quite the pace on his formation lap. The next driver is all the way back in the final chicane, and he has pretty much parked it on the grid. Now, it's going to be a tricky one. I've heard rumours that Mr. Debro is going to be taking the driver's title in Division 1. I've heard that circulated around a little bit in the chat earlier. So congratulations to him, but we don't know about the Constructors' Championship. I'll attempt to get some updates on that because it might intrigue some of you. But I think you're all mainly here because of Division 2. And this is what we're going to be focusing on as we get the lights on. And for one final time, we are go. And Mohsen Rezaei has not got the memo about the start. As now we'll see Bullet Eater pull away from the grid. And Potro has pulled away. They're slowly pulling away now. Keeping the gap. And Tibran is already making a move. Hercus is taking it very easy. But I think that might be under investigation from Mohsen Rezaei for ignoring the format there. Which is not what we wanted to see. People going very slowly at the moment. I think some people are a fair bit confused about this. I think because there's a yellow in Sector 1, they're not allowed to overtake. I think that might be what it is. I'm very confused here. I think they've all got up to speed now. So we are go. And Tibran is looking to pull a move on Mati Peretz, but backs out of it. They're taking it very easy. I'm fairly confused about how this is, what's going on here. At the front, Mohsen Rezaei not wasting any time in getting up into the lead, using all of his deployment well before 130R. Which is quite rare to use that much deployment in one lap that early. It goes deep. Can Pat get the run back? There's a yellow in Sector 2. That is Vibes, who's gone off on the entry to Spoon. Yoek has left. Yoek has left the session. I think everybody's taking it a bit easy. And watch Mati Peretz. So actually, in the championship battle, Potro is the lead of those cars at the front of the field. He is currently in 4th place, being chased down by Hercus Monti, who is in 5th. He's going to need Hercus to be a lot lower than that if he wants to take home this win. I think Mati Peretz is missing a fair bit of front wing here. You just look at the steering lock that he's having to use to get the car to turn. I believe Reporters is probably having the same issue at the moment. Mati Peretz is closing in on Reporters ever so slightly, so maybe a bit more confident driving with the damage than Reporters is at the moment. Of course, it is so long race, you don't want to be overdoing yourself. It's quite tough to get through this race without making mistakes. It's quite common if you're an endurance driver, but not something that is done on F1 in real life, or in fact any sort of Formula series, open wheelers, that I know about anyway, because it is so difficult to drive these cars. Mohsen Rezai has picked up the fastest lap at the moment on a 1 minute 36.623. Expect that to tumble very quickly as the race progresses with fuel loads. That does make quite the difference around this track. This is a bit closer now. Yeah, it's tumbling already down to a 1 minute 34.8 for Hercus Monti. But actually there's quite a large gap opening up between Bullet Eater and Pat Pat, 14 seconds. As here comes Mati Peretz. Gone a bit wide through the gravel. Keeps it on the road. And Tibran is right behind. We're going to go up to Hercus Monti as Bullet Eater is going through the gravel and has spun on the exit of the corner. Is he going to get it round safely and away? Yes, he is. We're going to go back to Hercus Monti, who is in hot pursuit of Potro. There's quite the battle going on back here. There's 4 cars within tenths of a second of each other. Did Tibran take out the marker board and pick up some front wing damage? That might be something to look out for there. As we now see Tibran attacking Mati Peretz. Is he going to make a move down the inside? Not quite able to. Not wishing to risk anything. We go back up to Hercus Monti. He's potentially looking to make a move into the chicane here on Potro. 130R, still a bit of a lift with heavy fuel, so they're not feeling too confident with the heavy fuel at the moment. Is it going to be close enough? Perhaps half a second. DRS now enabled. Is he going to be close enough at the end of the straight? I do wonder if Hercus is running a fair bit more downforce than Potro as well, which might be contributing to that. But actually, Tibran is right in the back of Mati Peretz. And is he going around the outside? What a move from Tibran! Round the outside. As I think Vibes has spun on the exit of the final corner. Now Tibran is looking to navigate Bullet Eater and then get onto the back of Reporters. Potro has picked up a 3-second time penalty in his pursuit of second place. Ooh, bit of lag there, and that's going to allow Mati Peretz back through. So all that brilliant work at turn 1 has been undone. Now is Bullet Eater going to slow Mati Peretz up and give an opportunity to Tibran? We will find out. Is Mati Peretz going to go for a move up the inside? No, he's not. Not wishing to risk it. It's Tibran going to go around the outside of the hairpin. This is going to be tight. Both drivers being very respectful. I think Manic has spun in the first sector, unfortunately. Our winner from last time out after that penalty for Hercus Monti. But Manic just about claimed the win. And Hercus still unable to find a way around Potro. Now Bullet Eater and Tibran did not have the funnest of time last time, and Bullet Eater's putting him on the grass. And that's allowed Mati Peretz up the inside of 130R. A brilliant committed move from him. And now he's going straight for the move on Bullet Eater. Straight up the inside. So he's wasting no time in getting past the Alfa Romeo driver. And now is Tibran going to shape for a move down the straight here? I think with a bit of ERS deployment he might be able to. But is Bullet Eater going to be looking at Mati Peretz now potentially? Not quite. Is Tibran surely not around the outside twice? Not quite able to find the room to attempt the move there. The car going slowly in front. That is... Is that Potro? It could be Potro. It is Potro! He's gone backwards and had an issue there. And that's going to have released Hercus Monti up into 3rd place now. Not the sort of news that Mati Peretz and Tibran were hoping for. As we follow Tibran now down into the hairpin. On the brakes, he's outbraked himself a little bit, but makes the corner. That's going to give Bullet Eater a bit of breathing room. In his pursuit of Mati Peretz, who is now looking to get in on the action against Reporters, who's gone wide into Spoon. This could gift a good run to Mati Peretz if he can get the exit out of the second part of Spoon. But it looks like Reporters has recovered well on the exit there. and is making his way up to 130R. As Reporters goes wide again. Gotta be careful with the track limits. I think Reporters is really struggling with some sort of damage or car setup here. Potentially just the high fuel running is a bit tricky. Of course, only 13 years of age is Reporters. In his first full season of league racing, so to be fighting it up there in 4th place is definitely a good achievement. And Tibran has now made the move on Bullet Eater. He is up to 6th place as Potro has picked up another time penalty. It's not looking brilliant for the Red Bull driver. Not quite able to pull the underdog story so far. Now we see Mati Peretz as Manic has passed Vibes down the main straight. Potro has had another issue. He's gone off again. This is what I mean, is incredibly difficult to keep the car on the track on this Suzuka circuit. And now as Mati Peretz diving around the outside. Not able to pull alongside. Reporters doesn't give him any opportunity. So now this is where he was weak on the last lap. Is he going to go wide this time? Not this time. So it's not going to gift an opportunity to Mati Peretz. And having said that, now Manic has given that place back to Vibes. And now Vibes is off, so there's been a bit of a collision there. But they are... I think Vibes has spun, but is now going again. And if Mati Peretz doesn't hurry up and make this move now, Tibran is going to get in on the action. Who's looking to go around the outside. Oh, big slide that keeps it on the tarmac. Well done, Tibran. And now to the inside goes Mati Peretz. That's going to be moved, done, and dusted. Pat has picked up a time penalty, holding on to 2nd place, and has dropped back quite severely from Mohsen Rezai, who just immediately launched it off the start. We now see Hercus Monti only 3 seconds behind Pat. That gap is coming down all the time, but he doesn't need to risk anything to get that championship. But Tibran is risking a move on Reporters, not quite. He thought about it, but Reporters has taken a bit of an early apex. This might give the run to Tibran. Down into the hairpin. Backs out of it. Thinks better of it. We're actually going to get up the tyre detail so that we can see what everyone's doing strategy-wise. But it is the medium tyres from Mati Peretz, and Manic is DNF'd. Manic has had a DNF. I believe that's going into the pit lane. If I'm not mistaken, yes it is. So that's probably a... I've chosen to retire the car from Manic. But done so in the pit lane, which is the correct procedure. Which is good to see. And that is Reporters disposed of for Tibran. He's now heading after his rival Mati Peretz. 4th place, and he seems to have much more pace than Mati Peretz at the moment. But he really needs to get up to the back of Hercus Monti, who has amassed over 20 seconds on this pair so far. And we're only on lap 8. That is a huge blow. Well, I say that like it's come at one time, but it hasn't. He's making progress. But these two are going side by side. Mati Peretz not wanting to give up the position. Tibran not wanting to give an inch. As we head through Sector 2. Sorry, Sector 1 still. My bad. Through the S's. And that's... Vibes has gone off and it's held up Mati Peretz, and that is going to allow Tibran to go through. Is this going to give Reporters the opportunity to get back past as well? Because he's been clinging on to these pair quite nicely so far since getting passed by the two of them. But Tibran is now released into 4th place and has 21.6 seconds to chase down. And really, his main goal is to get up as high as he can. But the important thing tyre-wise is Mati Peretz is on those medium tyres, whereas Tibran is on the soft tyres. So for their battle, I think Tibran is going to need to use the tyre advantage from the compound while he can at the moment. I think it was a smart move from Mati Peretz to take the medium tyres early. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be a 1 or a 2 stop race. It's now an Aston Martin 1-2, that is for certain. Turkus Monty blasts past Pat with the DRS. A bit of ERS deployment used. Only 15.4 seconds behind its Mohsen Rezai. First place. I think Turkus Monty. It's definitely something. Oh, Pat is in the gravel! I think he might have touched one of the curbs on the inside there. Another victim to the Suzuka curbs. It keeps the car on the track. And Reporters has actually passed Mati Perez. So I said he was sticking with him quite nicely. Very much so. And now he's on the grass. And has given it straight back to Mati Perez. His drivers are really struggling to keep it on the track on this Suzuka circuit. Hopefully he's going to keep the action going all throughout this 106 lap endurance event. The Reporters is only 3/10 now behind. He's still keeping with Mati Perez. It's not over for Reporters just yet. He's still got plenty of chances to pass Mati Perez. And Bullet Eater's clinging to them really nicely. A great job so far from Henry Hellbender as Turkus Monty sets a new fastest lap of the race. As you now see Bullet Eater's 5/10 behind. Oh, but he misses the chicane. But manages not to pick up a penalty. So it's not quite the move yet, but he was able to cling with them as Pat is coming in for a set of hard tyres. See what position he can make it up into with those hard tyres and how long will they last. These are things all unknown at the moment. Potro's right behind him, so is he going to be able to make the move with Pat on those cold hard tyres? Yes, he is. So a few penalties amassed for Potro and Vibes at the moment. Not what they'd be hoping for. And now Reporters is making a comeback towards Mati Perez. He's getting closer. So if Reporters finishes 5th, the point system is double what it usually is. So if Reporters were to take home his 5th place, he'd be looking at a solid 12 points, which in the championship could be quite huge for him, as he's only on 25. So gaining another 50% of his current points would solidify a solid position in the standings for him. But would it be enough to keep Mohsen Rezai behind, who is currently winning the race, subject to investigation, of course, which Barks will have a look at after the race to determine what's going on there, because he definitely didn't start first on the grid, but set off immediately behind Pat, who was DNF'd on the hard tyres. Must have missed that one. So we've got 2 DNFs so far. I really hope we can keep the DNFs low in this race. But that would... Reporters is currently on 25 points. And Mohsen Rezai is currently on 21. So I think Mohsen Rezai would leapfrog him subject to that investigation. As a yellow flag, I think it is Vibes. In fact it is, because it's the other Haas driver. And we're on board with Reporters. Right, I'm going to try and get our points entered into the spreadsheet, and then we'll get some live standings updated for you, as it's going to be quite close between these drivers. Just trying to wait to see if Mati Perez is going to be overtaken by Reporters, as this battle is going on and on. He hasn't been overtaken for now. But what a move from Reporters up the inside. A little bit of wheel banging, but it wasn't left a lot of space. And now we're going to have to switch the points, because Reporters is up to 14 points in the race, and T-Peret's down to 12. He's picked up a time penalty, so that's going to bring the T-Peret's right back into it. It's going to be a good finish for Bullet Eater as well, if he finishes in 6th place. That will give him almost double his current points tally. So he'll be very happy to get that. As Tibran is DNF'd. Tibran's DNF'd at the exit of the second Degner. Our second place man in the championship is out of the race on lap 12. That is going to put pay to his championship challenge now, as he'll be taking no points from this race. And that really is one hand on the crown now, surely, for Hercus Monty, who simply needs to finish the race to almost be crowned champion at this point, with T-Peret's in 4th, over 43 seconds behind the lead of the race. I think this is going to be a big day for those lower down in the championship who have stuck around to try and finish this race. Somebody like Reporters up in P3 now. So a brilliant job from him so far, with T-Peret's following closely behind. And it's going to be 12 points now for Bullet Eater, so he's going to be loving life. None for Tibran. That is going to be the big news of today, to promote Vibes into 7th. Motion Razai has picked up his first time penalty of the session. But crikey, that is drama, that is. I'm not really sure what happened there. We've got an apology from Manic in the Discord chat, who says, "Vibes, my apologies, pal. I span off and just veered off." So it's nice to see drivers owning up to mistakes. Wow, this is really benefiting Hercus Monty and the Jaguar Aston Martin team, who are looking strong already in the Constructors. But with a 1-2 finish, that would really solidify them at the top, given that their competition is BMW McLaren, who will be scoring no points, and Ferrari Koenigsegg, who will be scoring only points from 4th place. That'll be 14 points. Wow, that has really thrown things in the balance. This is going to mean Potro gets up to 3rd place in the championship, I believe, as we are going to get our standings sorted. So as it looks at the moment, this is where it's going to be on the standings if it were to finish like this. We have Hercus Monty as our champion, with T-Peret's in 2nd, Potro in 3rd, Tibran 4th. And Reporters would be up to 5th in the championship, level with Mosen Razai, but would lose out on countback. As Mosen Razai will have won this race as it stands. I think Hercus is beginning to reel the gap in a fair bit now. Still not quite away past from T-Peret's yet. Still following closely the wheel tracks of Reporters. We're going to leave this battle to watch Potro to see if he can make a move on Bullet Eater. Wonder if he's just got the Red Bull under control a little bit more. So we exit Spoon Curve using a bit of ERS deployment up to 130R. Bullet Eater goes a little bit wide there. Late on the brakes from Potro. Can he set up the run out of the final chicane? A little bit of lag, but nothing too concerning. Not quite able to set up a move just yet. Still follow on that 15 of 106. We're just over 10% of the way through the race, and we've already had 3 retirements. How many are going to make it to the end? See, Mati Peretz is really looking at the back of reporters now, but not willing to try and risk anything, but then risks everything at the hairpin with a brilliant move around the outside. Take a bow. That is a move and a half, that is. As he now moves up into 3rd place. Hercus is reeling in Mohsen Rezai now. Seems to be coming down at about a second-ish a lap. As Potro is now past Bullet Eater as well. So 2 moves being made at the same time there. Now Reporters is looking to fight back immediately. Been a brilliant drive from the Haas driver so far. And was that contact or was that lag? I'm not too sure. If we see him dive for the pits, I think it was contact. So commentators cursed him. My apologies. And into the pits for a new nose cone. Maybe a set of hard tyres. No, soft tyres, so it's looking more likely to be a 2-stop race. He's going to have to come in one more time, I think. The tyres are beginning to last, so I think it is looking like a 1-stop is a potential if you can stay out of any incidents and keep it on the track. Well, Eater's nearly kept it within DRS of Potro. Follow the Alfa Romeo driver through the rest of the lap. Gap's coming down by a few more tenths. Interesting that it's just tenths that Hercus is gaining. Mohsen Rezai really putting in a solid performance out front. But I think it's going to be laps ahead that it is really going to be laps ahead for the 2 up front. Now down to under 9 seconds. And Hercus is on a charge. Just wonder how conservative he's being on his tyres as well. Looks to be not taking too much out of them, which will be good news for him. Not taking too many liberties with the track. Just taking it nice and smooth for now. As a quick update on the Division 1 proceedings, Rils Taravillo is winning on lap 65. They're closing in on the 75% mark through that race. Mr. Debro is 2nd, Nicholas Boiter is 3rd, Zabby Jacker is 4th, Barks Littlewood is 5th, and Moomin Graham is 6th, with Womax DNFing in 7th at the moment. I do have Hercus' stream up. It looks incredibly similar to what we're seeing at the moment. Can't get a look at tyre wear, but it is looking calm and collected so far from him. So hopefully he looks at his tyre wear, because I'm kind of curious now. So we can see if we can get a bit of a an idea of when he's going to be looking to come into the pits. He's looking to take some medium tyres. And he's on 43% wear on the fronts, 34% on the rears. Either he knows that I'm asking to try and find out, or he's watching the stream. Been a great drive from the Aston Martin driver so far. Now catching up to Vibes, gets a nice little slipstream. Two rounds to start again. Now Reporters is down in 6th on his new soft tyres. Drew's probably beginning to reel in the two Parettes now. We're actually going to go up to the other Aston Martin of Mohsen Rezaei, so we can see how he is getting on. Follow the progress. We've got a yellow flag, and I think Vibes has had an issue at the first Degner. Hercus is really pulling the gap in now. Maybe Mohsen Rezaei is struggling a bit on tyres. As we see Bullet Eater going into the pits now. We change of medium tyres. Now, that could very well make it to the end of the race. I think if the soft tyres can go that far, and I think the mediums can go to the end, and yes, Mohsen Rezaei is going into the pits. Hercus will obviously not follow him in. On a 35.3. I think those are still very solid lap times. As Mohsen Rezaei is going for a set of medium tyres, I think everybody seems to have got the memo that it's take the medium tyres to the end from about lap 20 onwards. That seems to be what everybody has found in their testing to be the optimum. See Vibes getting out of the way. So now it'll be interesting to see whether Mohsen Rezaei starts reeling in Hercus Monti now. So the gap's about 16.8. Seems to be fairly staticky. When Mohsen's accelerating, seems to go down. And when he's on the brakes, it seems to go up a bit. It's not really getting any difference. They are on a very similar pace at this current moment in time. Now that Mohsen Rezaei has come out of the pits and is burning a lot of ERS on this lap. That nearly used all of it on that out lap. As Hercus is coming to the pits. So now we're looking at, it's going to be about lap 33. Lap 30, 33 is going to be optimum for the medium tyre runners to come in and get a set of soft tyres on, then go to the end of the first part of this evening's proceedings. Gap's down to 5.2, so Hercus has gained about 1.2 seconds in the pit stop phase. over Mohsen Razai. So I think those soft tyres were pretty dead, but he's still absolutely on it. And it'll be quite interesting to see if we finish before Div 1. I imagine we will, in terms of finishing our first part of the race when they finish their second part of the race. They're on lap 16 actually. I don't think they will. It's still Rills who leads. For Mr. Debro and Nicholas Boyd. The gaps are quite large. They're all sort of 10 seconds or more between cars in Div 1. But in this division, we've got slightly closer battles that are getting closer as Potro is closing in on Petit. It's going to be looking to make a pit stop fairly shortly, I think. To the final chicane with Petit. How long can he take his medium tyres? They keep going for another lap at least, as Reporters has picked up a time penalty. I think everybody's slowly amassing one or two throughout the session. It all looks so cautious from all of the drivers. I think Hercus is getting in a bit of a rhythm now, as he really is reeling in Mohsen Razai for first place. Wonder how hard they'll fight each other, as Mohsen has been known to be very aggressive on his defensive manoeuvres. Troy's got the gap down below 2 seconds now. Petit, he's recovering from that slightly difficult first phase of the race, as Hercus has set the fastest lap of the race now. Gap's down at 2.8. I think he's going to catch Mohsen for the lead before Potro catches Petit. Vibes has picked up a time penalty. Gap's gone up to 2.0. Now back down to 1.9. So a couple attempts gained for Petit in the final chicane there. Maybe taking the extra gear higher for Petit is working, as his style is to take slightly higher gear than maybe others would use. Potro seems to like revving out the gears, really downshifting. So probably the exact opposite of what Petit does. But interestingly, those styles are still very similar on lap time, as Potro takes a little trip through the gravel, but keeps it on the track, and actually picked up about 1/10 of a second in all of that. So well done, Potro. As the gap's down to 1.8 out front, Hercus is really closing in now. He's running in the 34.7s. Mohsen Razai is running on a 35.3. The warning as well. It's running tight for Mohsen Razai, who is already going to be behind Hercus Monti on penalties if it finishes like this. Having amassed 1 3-second penalty for corner cutting compared to Hercus is none at the moment. Of course, penalties can change very quickly. As we're not going to see that battle between Potro and Petit because Potro is pitting for a set of medium tyres, which will get him comfortably to the end of the race. And now he's going to have a lovely little bit clear air as he Or is Reporters going to be passed? It's going to be close. Reporters might have to make the move. While Potro is getting his tyres up to temperature, I think Reporters is going to have to make this move. We're going to ride with them through this first sector. And there's a yellow flag. I think that's for Vibes, who is still valiantly carrying on in 7th place. Oof. I was a bit scared when Reporters was taking that inside curb there. That has resulted in many a spin in my time trial adventures. As they both seem to go off the track, Potro's a bit more so. That's going to allow Reporters through. So now we'll see whether Potro can come back at Reporters on those new tyres when he's got those up to temperature and in the window. I think Hercus is just edging it slowly. And Mosin Razai's gone a bit wide there. That's going to put Hercus within the DRS range. We now go into the hairpin. It's close between these two now. Will there be team orders to just let Hercus go? I think Mosin Razai will probably ignore them if there are any. He's looking for his first win. And this is definitely looking like his strongest track so far. And propel him quite nicely into Season 3 with a bit of a confidence boost. With at least his pace. And finishing result if that transpires to be quite good as well. Another good lap from Hercus, but it's only a couple of tenths advantage he's got over Mosin Razai. I do wonder if that advantage is not as large as usual because he's just being cautious. Because he doesn't really pass Mosin Razai whatsoever. In fact, Mathieu Peretz needs to definitely outscore him, and Tibran is 8th and out of the race, so won't be scoring any points. So all in all, it's looking quite comfortable. Hercus, I think he might just be enjoying it and taking it easy behind his teammate, who's got some solid pace at the moment. Now within a second. It's been a slightly slower second sector for Mosin Razai. His ERS situation is fairly similar, but a tiny bit worse than Hercus's at the moment. It's a 33.9 from Hercus. I think he's now choosing to apply a little bit of pressure, and then I think if a obvious move arises, he'll take it. As Mosin Razai gone very wide there. He's being so careful to avoid any kind of contact with his fellow Aston Martin driver ahead. He also will know about the penalty situation with Mosin Razai. And also, there's another 100% race to go after this one. And yeah, can confirm, he can see on his screen that Mosin Razai has got a penalty, so he does know that he doesn't even have to pass Mosin Razai to win the race. I think his best bet is to just be sensible when it comes to the second part of this 200% race. As the yellow, I think it's Potro. It is Potro, so his charge on reporters is over for now. So the gap has extended up to 10 seconds. Oh, good move from Hercus. That may have been team orders almost and went a little bit wide, but that is going to be Hercus Monty into the lead of the race, just like that. Now, is Mohsen Razai able to stick with Hercus? Or is he going to be left very far behind? But Ita stays very nicely out of the way of these two, as it's another penalty for Mohsen, who is really pushing. Try and stick with Hercus. Just needs to avoid a mistake now. It's very easy to be leading your first race and then to just get desperate to hold on to it and then try to hit too hard and the click of your fingers, it's gone. I think he might be thinking of the bigger picture now. That second place in the race will definitely propel him up the championship order quite nicely. As Tibran has not Hercus has not escaped DRS. Has set the fastest lap of the race. And I think that is going to be all Hercus is going to be seeing if anybody is in the rearview mirrors or lapping them now. Get the impression he is going to do what he does best and run away. His Vibes has picked up another time penalty. But I think the thing for Mohsen now is, can he hold on to second place? I think the answer is a resounding yes, without mistakes at the moment, because Mati Peretz is 50 seconds behind nearly. Which is, that's quite a sizable gap to be having in 29 laps. But I think Mati Peretz might be running with some damage. So that is also definitely contributing to that gap being the way it is. It's another half a second, I think it is at the moment, for Hercus gained on Mohsen Razai. Really does like the aggressive send it line on the curbs. The Hercus is on a 33.8. We didn't actually get to catch what Mohsen Razai was doing, so we'll just hop into the race director. 34.5. So there is quite the deficit between them at the moment. Now, when we get to lap 53 of this first part, we are going to have to restart again. Actually, you can't do 200% in the game. Mohsen picks up another penalty, so we are going to have to start again. But the gaps, you're supposed to keep the intervals to the driver in front the same for when you start the second race, but I think that's going to be quite difficult with Vibes being a lap down on Bullet Eater and Mati Peretz being 51 seconds behind Mohsen Razai. And so people are like laps down on each other. And Nicholas Boiter has got up to second place in the Division 1 race at the moment. But I think he is yet to stop, which will promote Mr. Debro back up in second place. I think he's on course to win the championship from what I'm being told. You see Mosen slipping back ever so slightly now. I think he's just tried to hang on to Hercus a little bit too much there in the last lap or so. Is still looking comfortable for a P2 finish as it stands. The gap's 3.5, so it's not going up massively apart from when the mistakes happen. Actually coming back down again now, so maybe not all over yet. Mosen, keep it going. As he is using as much ERS deployment as he can at the moment to try and keep in touch with Hercus. It's pulling him along quite nicely, and Potro is getting the gap down to reporters now, which is good to see. Reporters, perhaps that was his teammate Vibes. Yes, it was. Going a little bit wide there, though. Not too bad. So now only Mati Peretz and reporters are probably going to be coming into the pits at some point. Into turn one with the Haas driver. Not too far off Mati Peretz, actually. Gaps at 15.6 seconds, so it's actually been closing in, I believe, a fair bit since his pit stop. Which would make sense given the new soft tyres versus old mediums. It's very slightly out of Degner 2 there. Well held. That's going to put Potro right on the back. He's going to have to navigate Vibes first. She does. And Reporters has got a bit slidey coming out of the hairpin. Is this going to give an opportunity to Potro? Not into Spoon. So Potro's going to look to set up the move into 130R, which he's not going to have to do. To Reporters, well, he's got back on it nicely though. Goes a little bit wide and using a lot of ERS deployment to stay ahead. It's going to be close up into turn one now. And Potro get the exit he needs. I think he can. Now he's looking to get some DRS. Using some of the energy. Reporters has got none. So to the inside, Potro goes. But Reporters holds it around the outside and makes the move stick around the outside. Beautiful bit of defending there. And Potro is not going to be able to get through just that easily. Oh, but Reporters has spun all of that hard work. Undone by a spin in the first sector. He's got quite a big gap to Bullet Eater. I don't think he should be too concerned. He's just got to try and get around a couple of corners to let the tyres cool off now. So now Mathieu Perret has come into the pit lane, set of soft tyres, on around lap 33, which is what we said. Lap 35 now. Actually been lapped nearly by the two. In fact, yeah, he's very nearly about to be lapped by Hercus Monti. That is his championship rival putting a lap on him. That must be a very difficult feeling. Mathieu Perret has led the first few rounds of the championship, but Hercus has really taken Division 2 by storm, taking 2 race wins, couple of second places, and it's looking like it's going to be another race win for him today. He had some pace when he turned up at Spa, was immediately on the pace, only finished 12 seconds behind a dominant Tibran performance, then managed to pick up speed, especially notably the ridiculous win in Monaco, where he won by over 2 laps on the rest of the field. It's now cruising with his Aston Martin teammate up in second. It's looking ever more likely that Hercus will be picking up that Division 1 drive, which we were all expecting him to be given anyway, potentially. And we might have some new faces from Division 1 entering Division 2 next season. Barks has said we're going to try and get some more of the drivers into Div 2 as well. As it's still same order in Division 1 at the moment. Looks like, bearing in mind penalties, which we can't see on the screen at the moment, but Rills is going to take the win from Mr. Debro, from Nicholas Boyd, from Zabby Jacko, Bucks, Littlewood and Moomin Graham. There's a yellow in Sector 1. Is that reported? Yes, it was, on the new tyres. Just coming out of the pits. I fear we may be in with a slightly lengthy period in the middle of the race, where we have to wait for Barks to tell us what sort of to tell people what gaps to take. But actually, one very helpful thing is co-commentator Leox is looking through the lap times people are running in Division 1. On around the same lap, they're only on a 32.7 compared to Hercus on a mid-33, who's putting his foot down now. Yeah, Hercus is running 34-1, 34-1, 5, 34-3. Who really isn't that far off, given he is pretty much cruising at this point. And interestingly, it seems like Reals Taravillo is on for the win. Another Aston Martin driver. I mean, that car really does just suit the track quite nicely. Trying to start lap 38 now. Oh, he was just a bit fed up, apparently, of being that far off the Div 1 pace. 33.0. So only a couple of tenths, a few tenths off what they're doing in Div 1. That is a brilliant effort from Hercus, who's showing us he is very much ready to be part of Div 1 next season. Interested to see who returns for our next season, and also if we've got any little off-season things planned, which I'm sure we might. I know on my side I'm probably going to be returning. We just have to get that one all confirmed about what's going on for the commentary, and to return the next season, as well as Leox, I believe, will as well. And if that is the case, then we'll be getting a full update on the stream. We'll get ourselves some new overlays. Just going to give it a nice little redesign for Season 3. But at the same time, we're also going to keep all of the good features that we've tried out and discovered throughout the season. We've seen a lot of love for the replays, which will definitely be returning. And in fact, that has given me an idea. I'm going to see if I can find Tibran's replay. If I can. There is no replay of the stream from today, unfortunately, so we're unable to see as Vibes has come into the pits. So now actually I think nobody else is left to pit. As out of the pits comes Vibes on a set of soft tyres, as expected. We're going to see if anybody has posted any streaming links. Here not is just Div 1 drivers at the moment. Gap's extended a fair bit now. Hercus is really putting his foot down. As we know he can, he's gaining confidence, which is always a dangerous thing when you see a very quick driver gaining confidence, and they can very easily just disappear off up the road. As now, I think the battle for Matiparets is, can he catch Potro? Or will that be a bit too much of an ask for him? We're going to get the championship points updated. I don't think it'll alter where anyone finishes towards the top. Actually, shout out to Bullet Eater, who is running a very good race so far, up there in 5th place. a brilliant drive from him. Then we're going to get ourselves some more live standings. And I don't think it's affected the positions that much, but Potro is only 1 point now behind as Hercus dips into the 32.9s now. Oh, as Vibes is round. That is the corner where the bump is. That it's so easy to do that. I feel very bad for him. It's a very easy mistake to make. But it's looking fairly evened out across the fields now in terms of where they're going to be finishing, other than Matej Perec catching up to Potro. But at the moment, it would see Potro only 1 point behind Matej Perec. To those two from the very first race, where we saw them racing flat out in Austria. Towards the end of the race, at the start of the intro, you might have noticed, we actually started with Potro leading them away after taking pole position in Austria. And then went on to spin at the first corner and recover it back to battle with Spectre and Matej Perec for the win. And amassed a few too many penalties and then dramatically dropped it in the final sector. Put him down a few more places. But has shown a very positive season of not giving up when it gets difficult and putting in some solid performances all throughout. And I think had he not had, I remember him saying he'd loaded the wrong setup for one track, and you could tell he had too much of an oversteery car at Spa. Had that not been an issue, probably would be ahead of Matej Perec for second in the championship. But still, it has been a great drive from him, who may be looking to progress to Div 1. Not sure how many people are actually going to be able to progress. I know for certain that Hercus will probably be progressing regardless of whether he picks up the win or not. As I do wonder what's going to happen with Div 1, because Bark said to the drivers in the Discord, wait until I tell you what to do for the gaps to the car in front. But currently they're on lap 37. We're on lap 41 and not running too much slower. As, oh no, Vibes has DNF'd. He made it so far, but has had an accident coming out of the hairpin. And I'm afraid that's going to be no more points for the Haas driver. That means that OG is going to cling on for his place in the championship. Matej Perec is down to 4.2 seconds to Potro. It's going up to 4.6. This is going to be very close towards the end of this first part of the race. Go up to 130 on Matej Perec now. 10 more laps to go of this first part of the race. And then we get to do it all over again very shortly. And Hercus has opened up the gap, but not massively. It's only 12.5 seconds, so still a very commendable drive for Mohsen Razai, keeping him so honest, and definitely one of the best result, definitely the best result he is on for at the moment. Certainly the most pacing consistency we've seen from him so far. Potro is up there in third, being chased down a minute and a half behind the top two. That's how dominant these Aston Martin pair have been so far. We've got 6 remaining. I'm wondering on the DNF procedure here as to whether they will be allowed to race. Now, I would ask Barks at this point, but he's currently racing, so we're going to have to figure that one out. But if I was one of them, I'd be tempted to just go for it and race, and then they can always take it away, but you've still, you've done the race. And it would be much better to have it taken away from you if you've got some points than 32-3 now. So Hercus is really on it at the moment. I think it would definitely be more beneficial to just be better for the drivers who have DNF to do it, get some points, and then have some points taken away from them, instead of them being told, oh no, if you'd done it, we would have given you points for it. That would just be the worst. Knowing you could have gone and done it and didn't. So I think they will probably attempt to race if they can. Those who DNF very early probably won't racing, but of course we will give them the option. We'll need to check with Barks to see whether those will count for points or not. We'll see. As the gap has stayed very static at 14.5 seconds at the moment. Meti Perret's unable to use the compound advantage on Potro, which is actually quite surprising, given how Potro seemed to be struggling compared to Meti Perret through quite a fair bit of this race. Has actually done a brilliant job to get up there. We haven't checked in with Henry Hellbender for a while, so we're going to watch him go around the Suzuka circuit. Got a fair gap to reporters. Needs to see if he can keep that gap. But again, when we finish this, we will only be halfway there. There's still another 53 laps to go afterwards. Potro has picked up a time penalty. This gap's going up to 5 seconds now. Oh, you see Potro is struggling. It's not comfortable for the Red Bull driver just yet. Final chicane. That's on the gravel. Oh, that really was on the gravel. I thought it was just a bit of lag. Meti Perret is going to inherit 3rd place quite easily there. As very sensible to stay out of the way from Potro there. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It was a bit of an odd one. We'll have to ask about that one afterwards. That's going to promote Mati Peretz up into third. But now, with every driver definitely having made their last pit stop, we'll have a look at penalties and see how that affects things. In fact, Henry Hellbender is looking quite good on penalties compared to reporters in that battle being 12 seconds better off. And Mohsen Rezai has got 12 seconds at the moment. That's not really going to make much of a difference when his gap to the car behind is 1 minute and 30 seconds, which is very nearly a lap. In fact, he's just behind Mati Peretz. Going up to the back to lap him. That really shows the dominance of the top two yet again. Going to follow with Mohsen Rezai for a bit longer. He's usually a fan favourite. There's quite a few friends who tend to jump into the stream and chant for him in the chat. And if they're here, they'll probably be chanting for him. Again, I noticed there were quite a few of them were all on Twitch, so with the Div 1 race being streamed on Twitch, they might not be able to watch the YouTube stream we're on at the moment. Hopefully, all I have to do is flick a switch and we can get a Twitch stream up as and when the Division 1 race is finished being streaming on Twitch. In fact, in the cutover we might get the second part of this stream on Twitch as well as on YouTube. We'll get the whole coverage. Rezai now laps Mati Peretz. So I'm not sure how that's going to work for intervals. That's definitely the thing we've got to figure out. I think that's the thing with some of these formats that we've tried this season, where we've tried something and then some of the formats have got a bit confusing for people to follow. And I think for next season we can definitely work on getting them set in stone very confidently to keep everybody clear on what's going on. Go into turn 1 with Mohsen. Dissect it. I think he might have fixed his broken controller, to be fair. I think he'd be struggling a lot more if his controller wasn't working. That's why we saw quite a few DNFs from him in difficult times. He revealed his controller wasn't really very functional. I think it was the throttle trigger wasn't working properly, from what he said. So that's why he was struggling to maintain some kind of consistency with the traction. So that is definitely something that seems to have gone right for him, which is really good to see. Potro has picked up another time penalty. We've got 4 more laps to go of the first part. As I think Mohsen's pushing to try and get his fastest lap. He can. I think it might be his fastest lap of the race. Not quite. Only half a tenth off his best lap of the session. Only up to 12 seconds of penalties. It's definitely going to be second place. Barring a spin, it's going to be something pretty major. Could even have a spin, knock his front wing off, get all the way around the end of the lap with no front wing, pit, and then come out in front of Mati Perez. Such is the pace advantage they've had, and I think rather the deficit that Mati Perez had in the first stint with damage, it definitely appeared like he was having some damage. And I think a lot of drivers struggle with confidence around Suzuka. Even Division 1, there weren't that many sign-ups compared to some of the races on a bit easier tracks like Silverstone and Spa. People love that. And the Fire Lapa Championship as well. Those are all ones that are a bit easier on the drivers. Suzuka is definitely one of the toughest ones on the calendar, I would say. Up to 15 seconds. It only gets towards a worry when it gets to around 30 seconds, as that's the sort of range where you'll get the message you're under investigation by the stewards. If you keep doing this, you'll be disqualified, I think is the exact message that you get. But, ooh, bit of lag there. Got very concerned that he'd just driven straight on instead of left there. Good to see that was just a bit of lag. Go into Spoon. Yes, Hercus, you should try fastest lap on old mediums. Our race leader, Hercus Monty, even had time to drop a quick message into the chat. Shall I try fastest lap? Of course you should try for fastest lap. So here we go, we're going to ride on board the final lap with our race leader, Hercus Monty, as we go through towards the end of part 1. Is he going to be up in the first sector? He's 7/10 up in the first sector. This is a good lap so far. There you go. There is a lap with Hercus Monty. And there's going to be a 1 minute 31.5. That is going to be the race for him. So far, he's got another 53 laps until his Div 1 drive is confirmed. And he has got to keep it on the track as well. It's looking ever better. We've seen Bullet Eater and reporters across the line. Potro is going to be next to come across the line. And, oh, that was everyone. I've got a quick picture. There they are. A top 3 so far. Get a quick look at the incidents from the race director. Case Barks needs to pause it. A lot of them are track limit warnings and penalties. That's how it stands so far. We have got ourselves not long left to go now. Nicholas Boyter is on the back of Mr. Debro with 4 laps left to go in the Div 1 race. And there is still more to be had there. Of course, there are penalties. And is Mr. Debro let him go? Ooh, that's bold. Oh, it seems that Potro says his brake got stuck and it made him go into the grass. He has to change controller, crikey. Instead of pit stops, and then you get controller swaps. Reminds me of the time Simon Pagino did a whole simulator swap in the R-Factor Virtual Le Mans series. In fact, let's see if we can find the clip of it. Because it was really something to behold. How he just managed to swap the whole rig when his wheel failed. It's a common thing in R-Factor 2. So if we get it up now. Chrome's not enjoying life. Okay. Look, he is literally changing the rig. He's plugging his new Fanatec rig in. And then look, he's turning it on with the button. It's calibrating. While his car's stopped. And then away he goes. And Jimmy was very impressed with that, as you can see. We are halfway through our proceedings so far. So there are going to be waiting until Barks finishes the race to confirm the gaps. Just so we get that all sorted. And in fact, it's more of a way to give a some gaps for the drivers to just relax for a bit. I think it's in more real life racing, drivers like to stay in the car, stay focused. Whereas people in this probably want a break after a full 100% race. But yes, we are going to invite everybody back to the lobby if anybody has left already. Check who's not currently in the lobby. Then we're going to get people back. Get on with the second part of the race. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, everybody is going to be allowed to race in the second half as well. So I'm going to get everybody invited if anybody's left or disconnected for whatever reason. We want to be an all-inclusive league. That is one of our selling points, if you like. Don't know. The league? Somebody from the Brendan League community by accident. So if anybody is not in the lobby, you can always join back. Hopefully, while that is going on, we are going to do a little bit of hosting. I think Twitch has changed. Oh no, there are black bars on the stream anyway. So that there is how it's looking in Division 1 at the moment. So this is the final part of their proceedings. Turn off the replay effect, just so we can see what's going on here. Ooh, Nicholas has picked up a penalty there. So now we're commentating alongside Leox for now. Just for the last lap, as Rils Taravillo is going to be taking home the win. He is coming into Spoon now, so we'll probably cut to him at some point soon. Yeah, there we go. And I'll let Leox take it away for the final part of the race.
For so long, for over 80 laps, maybe 85, maybe 89, and he's doing the chicane for the very last time, and now he's gonna cross the line to win the Japan Grand Prix. The 9th round of the UKSS Dakar Bathurst League ends with a 1:31.0 from Rils Taravillo, fastest lap and 31 points game for the Aston Martin. That's the end of Season 2 for the UKSS Dakar Bathurst League. Mr. Debro is gonna become World Champion of Season 2. Very well done to Red Bull factory for producing Mr. Debro and winning the Drivers' Championship for the first time, and he's gonna try surely to get also the constructor. It depends on Dirshark points if they're valuable or not. Otherwise it's gonna be Alpine on top of the constructor. And it came down to the wire with Nicholas fighting with Mr. Debro till the very last lap, till the very last corner. How intense has this been this last season? A really great journey, and I'm really happy to have been part of it, and I'm really thankful to everyone who have tuning in this season so far. We're only waiting for the good owner Bark Sultalhood who wave till the end of the second season. That's it, guys. Thank Julius. Awesome job, you two. Rils Taravillo, driver of the day. Well said, Codemasters. Incredible day for him, leading every single lap of the second race and almost every single lap of the first race, and that's the trophy for him. And these are the final standings for this race. They didn't change much from the start. Real Staravio started first, finished first. So did Mr. Dibro, so did Nicholas, so did Zabishaka, so did Barks, so did Mooman, and so did Vumax. So nothing really changed in the second race, but that's the endurance race. It has been really emotional. Really thankful to everyone who has tuned in every race. See you later on with a World Cup. Tune in for Division 2 because soon they're gonna start the second 100% race, and then for the third season with F1 2022 we're gonna see you on March. It's been an honor and see you soon.
Well, there we have it. That is how it has ended in Division 1. And now that means that Barks will be confirming the gaps and we'll be underway very shortly. It also means we'll be streaming on Twitch. I just need to confirm that the stream has ended. So I don't want to just start streaming if Dirks is doing his outro. Be